If you speak, you may be mentioned on the podcast note. So please, guys, continue to support us. And we thank you guys for supporting DTN. Thank you all for showing up, especially you guys on Chatter. Thank y'all for supporting DTN day in and day out. And
You know
that's it.
what? Hell yeah, that was an awesome reset, Chad.
Thank you, Sugarfoot.
Yeah, that was really awesome. All right, now we get back to fighting.
A ding ding. Okay, oh, I can make my point. Okay, so I was thinking this. Okay, y'all know I'm a veteran. And I was thinking about what my mom would have said, or my parents, like when I was deployed, right? What they would have said if I were the officer, and what they would have said if I was Ashley. And guess what? I would have never been Ashley because I served my country. And the sad thing is, she served her country and she had no respect for it. Now, she was radicalized. She was. If you look at any of the information online where people have told stories about the post, the different posts that she had on her social media, that they said that she was radicalized, that she had hate speech and different things on her social media, right? And this is the reason why insurrection is so deadly, and it harms us as a country, because you have to incite violence. And the things that Trump was saying, like, I get it. I know why Trump wants to give Ashlee Babbitt's family money, because it's his fault she gone. Hello, it's his fault, because he incited it. He incited hatred, which he's doing now. He incited division. And if we are not careful, other Americans may have the same fate if we keep allowing him to divide and incite hate in our hearts. And I'm done, JB. Thank you.
No, go ahead. You guys, I'm gonna tell you what my folks would have said. They were like, if I was Ashley, they were like, John, we told John not to go down there and mess with those people.
We told his crazy ass not to go down there.
He knew better.
I left stuff out, but I know you guys would know. I know you guys know what I'm saying. Like, we told him to go down there, take his ass down there, fucking with those people.
Nah, facts. He knew better.
Debo.
Now let him sit in there for a few days.
You better take his ass and run out there, okay?
Yo, hey, like his ass. That's what happened. He forgot where he came from.
Right. Hey, if you'd have been in jail, they'd be like, let his ass sit in jail for a few days so he can learn his lesson.
No.
Thank you. Let his ass sit out there. Cool out.
Sit his ass out there. Like,
and Trump was like, he's a thug. He was threatening the vice president, and you can't do that. But the other ones, they were peaceful. But that Bing guy,
he wasn't civilized.
that was not. I wouldn't have never recommended him to do that. I would. You're in a Capitol building. I would never recommend. It was the most peaceful protest ever, until that Bing guy tried to go through the window.
That's what a dumbass get. He should have hopped in.
His dumbass got knocked off playing around.
That's what would have happened, guys. Let's keep it real. Guys, I'm going to give me a moment. I got to move this podcast over from production to going. But let's keep this conversation flowing, folks. I'll be right back.
CH, y'all have anything, or are you about to shut them down? And
No, CH is rocking. We're rocking tonight, man. We got something. Because this right here, man, Leah put this out there. I'm like, huh? Yeah, because I was, I'm doing all kinds of stuff, man. Working on my beehive and everything else, and trying to do the family thing and all this other stuff. And I'm like, what the hell? So I'm not really, it's unusual. I'm usually in the office. I'm sitting down working, got the TV on, and, listening to the TV. But, yeah, I was on the phone. I ain't gonna say bother him, like talking business and all this other stuff. But let's just leave that. I just wasn't there today. And so when I heard that shit, I was like, what the hell? And I even went in the chat in the group text and said, "Hey guys, debate the news. We're about to start the show soon. I really haven't been like looking what's going on. Because I'm always, guys, I'm so caught up on the news that if you give me some bullets, boom, 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 I have it in my head and this brain of mine. I can like, boom, okay, just give me something. What's going on and what happened today? Because I'm that tied in. I go to bed, I read the news. I wake up, I read the news. I'm working, I read the news. I look at the news. I have it going on. Someone's talking. I'm on the phone with a client. Client's talking. I'm bored as hell. I'm doing the figures. Okay, I'm looking at the news. That's just me. So, and today I disconnected, and I'm gonna tell you this right here, man. The best defense that those Capitol Police had, and I think they should have taken it, was make that floor so fucking slippery and make that hallway smell like iron. Like iron. I don't know if you guys know iron, what smells like iron. Okay? It should have smelled like iron and it should have been slippery as fuck.
That's a fact.
That means there's a lot of fucking blood. Because I don't know if you guys know what blood smells like in bulk. Alright? It smells like metal, like iron. And they would have been slipping and falling. You lit up 3 or 4 of them. But the
Smells
officer,
like
copper, iron, metal. You smell it, right, Luis? You know what it smells like, right?
Uh-huh.
And so that's
metallic. It has a metallic smell to it.
Yeah, exactly. So, and so they're fortunate that they weren't killed. They're very fortunate that they weren't killed.
She sacrificed herself for them.
Nah, she was stupid. She was dumb.
She didn't realize that's what she was doing.
Nah, she was. I'm sorry, guys. This right here is for Ashlee Babbit.
You're so dumb. You are really dumb. For real.
For real.
But JB, there's somebody in the chat, Christopher. He thinks that anyone that opposes this or that agrees with you is a Democrat.
I don't know.
You're so dumb.
Right?
You are really dumb.
Don't put words in my mouth.
He said very democratic.
Yeah, hey, don't put words in my mouth.
I would love to hear
Appreciate
from
it.
you, Christopher. Tell us what you think.
I mean, my perspective is I'm listening to you guys say that everybody should have been killed, but then you go ahead and say that the right are politically violent people. So I don't know what you guys are talking about. Killing everybody doesn't really sound.
No one said everybody should be killed.
Peaceful.
No one said everyone should have been killed, bro.
Jaffa, you just said that the place should smell like iron.
Yep, took out 4 or 5 people out. Absolutely. They would have bled
So
out.
you're saying they should have killed people.
Yeah, you know what? Yeah,
right,
you know what?
Point taken.
Guess what? They didn't. Okay? But that shows the amount of restraint and grace given on that day. All right? Let me ask you something, Christopher. Let's see how honest you are. If that day repeats itself, will more people be killed versus the one? Will this time many more people be killed? Yes or no, Christopher?
You're asking if it happened today?
Yeah, if it repeated itself today, would more people be killed this time?
I can't answer that because I don't know.
You don't want to answer it. You don't want to answer it.
I don't know how he feels is democratic.
Yeah, Democrat.
I am a Democrat, man.
It's just a joke, man.
On this, I am. Christopher, first of all, let me make sure I'm following you. Okay, good. I'm following you. Yeah. Christopher, thanks for having the courage to come up here and speak and put your perspective out there, man. Because I definitely want to hear different perspectives. But Christopher, I am a Democratic on this one. Because I'm going to tell you why. I'm a patriot. I personally, I would die for my country. You know why? Because I know I got children and grandchildren that's coming up behind me. I need this country to be here for them. Okay, I love this country. I do. All right. And its country has not always treated me the best, but guess what? This country is the best that I know. Okay, and I wouldn't trade it for anything in the world. So when someone goes at the heart of the democracy, I think there should be no grace given. I don't give a fuck if it's my brother. All right? I don't care who it is. I'm sorry. That's just the way I am. I'm a real patriot because this country, because what we have, this experiment we have, what did Ben Franklin said? What do you have? A democracy? He's a republic if you can keep it. Okay? This experiment that we had, guys. I'm going to say this. We've only been a country for 249 years. All right? That's how long we've been a country. Not quite 249 years. 249 years and 2 months, okay? Okay, China, Russia, all those other countries, India, all Iran, all those other countries have been countries long before us. Okay, we're a great democracy. What we put together is unique and great. And it worked, and it gave us diversity. When I mean diversity, I'm talking about like amongst all kinds of people and cultures and language and wealth and food and everything. We got and technology because of that diversity, we had the best technology, the best medicine, the best cultures and just everything, the best standard of living. And we're still fucking babies. So what we have is unusual. And it's very fucking fragile. And that's why, when I fight for fucking people, when you say, oh, you want a fucking wife beater to come back. I don't want a fucking wife beater to come back. Fuck him. I wish they had someone else. What I want is not to lose what we have. Because power is addicting. And if we keep giving power to the federal government, more specifically to the executive branch, we're going to wind up with a fucking czar. And that's what you guys don't get. I'm not like, hey, hate Donald Trump. I don't hate Donald Trump. I hate anything that will endanger this young, guys, this is a young country. It really is. When you look at China, Turkey, and all those other, Pakistan, all these countries we're fucking fighting against. Those countries that want to see us wiped away, guess what? We won. No, you want to know why we won? We won through diversity of ideas, diversity of cultures. Someone from China coming here, someone from Japan coming here, someone from fucking England coming here, and they're like, oh, and they're all sitting there like, hey, let's try this. They're like, oh, that may not work. They're like, oh, over in our country, we did this. And they're like, oh, let's put all our ideas together and make something great. And that's why we get the best technology. That's why I would fucking, if my fucking brother or my child was in that Capitol and was leading a charge against people that was going to fucking possibly bring down this government, take them the fuck out. And I mean it. I mean it. Because behind my child is my other children that's not a part of that. My grands and my siblings and possible parents or whatever else is still here. Friends, loved ones. My pet turtle, whatever the fuck. That's what's at stake here. And I think you guys forget that. That's why I would never, ever, ever, ever booty clap for one fucking man. I'm going to always booty clap for my country. That's why I said, take them the fuck out. And if my dumbass, and like my dumbass was there on January 6th, because on January 6th, guys, I'll be honest with you, January 6th, I was in my office with my buddy, and we were like, let's go. And we really was like, let's go. And then all of a sudden, we were trying to get some deals. It was a deal giving us a problem because we went to a couple of rallies. We went to Philly, went to New York, we went to DC. We would just jump in the car and drive down there. That's just me, guys. I'm inquisitive like that. You know what I'm saying? I'm the guy to run to the fight. Like, what the hell? And so I had to check it out. Like, what the hell? What's going on here? You know? But and that's me. And so I would have been there. My dumb ass would have been like, oh shit. You know, and I was like, oh, I get to see the Capitol. You know, I would have went in just because I got to see the Capitol, and my ass would have been prosecuted. Because I
Then
would have
you
been like,
got beat up.
yo, I'd be FaceTime, like, yo, I was at Facebook Live, Instagram Live, all this other shit, like, yo, look at me, yo. Then all of a sudden, I'm like, yo, don't tell them. Don't. I'm trying to erase shit. And next thing, who there? FBI.
Hey, Bing would have been on that plane
That's what
like
happened in
Chris
my
Jordan and
ass.
shit.
That's what would have happened in my ass. and, yeah, yo, and I'm gonna tell you, I would look even more foolish because they would have had 89 white folk and my black ass walking out there like,
Hey,
Hey,
everybody be like,
guess
"Oh, we ain't
what?
got no black folks out there." Then here come
Hey,
Bing with the
I
last
told his ass
one.
not to go down there fucking with those people.
Guess what? And my black ass would have been there pointing a finger at you saying he did that shit.
No, your black ass would have been in there trying to riot and protest. Okay, and I would have told you to climb through that door. I like climb through that window, bro. Get him. Yeah, like don't let that lady go through this. She might get cut. And you like, yeah, I got this. You're like, yeah, yo. And Nelson, this is what you would have said. I was like, yo, fuck it, stand down. You like,
Oh shit.
nah, you like,
Do me a favor,
Go
please.
again.
Get out of here. Get out of here, man. Shit, I'm saying.
right before you went through there, you got shot.
Dude, why does that sound so much like Sir Dude?
Do me a favor, please. Get out of here.
It sounds like Sir
Get
Dude.
out of here, man. Shit, I'm saying.
That's not so cute.
Sorry,
I
buddy.
thought that was so cute in real life.
We really did.
Yo.
Fuck around, get his ass deported and shit.
Yeah, but go ahead, Christopher. Go ahead, my man. The floor is yours, man. But like I said, I appreciate you. I always appreciate you because you're never afraid to speak up. That's why we can come in and always look for you when they're like, oh, okay, because you're never afraid to speak up, my man. So go ahead. The floor is yours, Christopher.
Yeah, gratitude. I understand where you're coming from. You know, I just think that there's a lot more ways to handle a situation like that if you do need to get violent. Like they could use rubber bullets. You know, they could mace people. You know, I don't really think that they should be just full blown just killing people in the building in the Capitol, just blood all over the floor. I think that would
Let's
really
go.
give it like a terrible look like on the United States, and it's very concerning to me that I'm pretty sure like I understand the passion behind it, but to say that the right is inciting violence and division and asking for blood, but then turning around and saying that we should have killed all these guys who went in there. I think that's pretty hypocritical, and that's my only issue with it. Like, there's so many ways to handle it, and we don't have to kill people to handle a situation. And it's unfortunate. Like, I agree with you. Like, people do stupid shit. I wouldn't have gone over there, but some people decided they wanted to, and there's so many different aspects of what happened on that day. We don't have the full on picture, but again, I think to ask, to shoot people and kill them, especially even if they are Americans and they're doing stupid shit like, something stupid like that. I don't really agree with it, and that's for both sides, And you ask me if they were to do that today, I think people would get arrested, and they would go through the process that they went through the first time because a lot of them got arrested. But yeah, that's just my take on it. I don't really think we should be calling for violence on either side. So
Hey,
that's just
hey,
me.
hey, Chris, can I ask you a question real
No,
quick? I just want to know: do you think those important people that was being protected? Do you think they want to be protected by people with mace and mace and things like that, or they going to be protected by somebody that has a handgun that can enforce, a different option just in case they did break past. I don't think anybody's
Those
walking around
people
with
were in the
mace that's
bunkers, and
protecting.
they were far away from all the stuff that was happening up there. They weren't, and they didn't have any issues. Like there's no, they were safe, is
I
what I'm
mean, for the
saying.
people at the last line of defense, do you think, uh, was it the vice president or whoever was back there? Do you think they want to be protected by people with mace and people that's going to shoot in the air, or people that's going to take out the enemy when you got 500 people trying to break down a door and get to you and hang you and kill you? And it's a chance they chanting this, so you can't act like, oh, we don't know what they're gonna do once they get past us, because they literally saying it. They got a noose. There's a guy with a noose around his on his hip and everything, ready to hang Mike Pence and everything. And you want them to be having mace and try to arrest all these people at one
Have you
time
ever been
or
maced
control
before? Have you
them.
ever been shot with a rubber bullet?
You said, are you asking
That
have I ever been
hurts.
shot with a rubber
That
bullet?
hurts. That's enough to that
Yeah,
like that. That's
I'm
enough
sure
to
it
knock
hurts,
somebody
but
out.
I'm
My
sure it
son
hurts. But
You
I'm
has, and
know.
it
saying that
hurts
But I
bad
understand where you're
enough. I
coming from.
promise.
Like, but these people would very likely have private security, and these people were far away from, like, these guys were nowhere near the vice president at the time, and these other important personnel you're talking about. These guys were evacuated. They were taken into the bunkers, and they were taken care of. Now, if these people who broke into the Capitol managed to get down there, and yeah, okay, I agree with you. But this situation is happening at the doorsteps. They're nowhere near these people. And so I understand
those
where you're
people
coming
are
from,
now allowed
but
to bring,
uh, if
on
you're
federal
outside,
land.
like you don't need to be shooting
But
people down like that.
but
I
Chris,
don't agree
So
with that.
Christopher, I see
rubber
you. I'm saying,
bullets,
on federal
rubber
land, you're not
bullets.
allowed to bring weapons on federal land. You know that, right? On school properties and federal land, and things like that, you're not allowed to bring weapons. So all those people that was up there with ARs on their back or handguns or whatever was already violating the law already. And then and then you're chanting to go and kill people that's on a political stage. I think buddy that shot the lady did a great job. I think he should have did more of it for them to understand that, y'all, this ain't no fucking TV show. This ain't no movie where you can come in, whoop ass, and go stand on somebody's table and do whatever. It's like, this is life and death. And well, from last time I checked, there were police officers that did die, or one that died after the fact, but it was because of the riot. And I think one died while he was there, if I'm not mistaken. But the police lives that matter. I think the lady winning money from the police because he shot her is a slap in the face to the whole all those officers that got fatally injured or took damage that night. And that's just my opinion, but teach his own.
You, one thing I want to say one thing about rubber bullets are great. They're great for training. I don't think anybody in that building that was handling the police officers, tactical teams, whatever, expected American people to be rushing that building. They're not prepared for. They're originally prepared for maybe anybody outside, uh, maybe a terrorist act, maybe people that are trying to do harm, but they never expected American people to be rushing that building. The problem is if they would have used rubber bullets, I mean that's just not the way the world works. There's ammunition for a reason, and again, they had every right to use those ammunition for those weapons. Rubber bullets would never work. Those are great for training. I mean, so it sounds good in,
Thank
in
you.
in theory, but it's no need to seek to harm. Officers are trained to shoot center mass. There's no need to shoot in the leg. There's no need to shoot to disarm. They're doing their job. It's center mass, or whatever that center mass may be. That's where you're getting hit.
Exactly. And all that mace talk is just ridiculous.
Yeah, I agree with that too. I agree with if they just shot them in the leg or something, but to shoot to kill people, like for people to be calling for that, I don't agree with that. So
Did you hear
at
what
the
he
end of the
just
day, like
said
just
though?
as long as it's not like a bloodbath, like because that's what it sounds like. People ask, like, these are just a bunch of dumb people who got together. They were passionate. They went in there. You don't need to kill them. Like, maybe shoot their foot, slow them down, whatever, but to call for them to be killed. I don't think that's the right move.
Hey, Christopher.
Play
So,
stupid
so if
games
there's
when
if
He
shit
there
don't
was
said
if
matter.
shit
there
on
was
the
a
tippy
hundred people
toe.
coming to
Can I
your
say
house,
this?
oh my bad. Go ahead. Is that chat? I'm sorry.
No, Q. You want to say something?
Yeah, real quick. I was just about to ask Christopher if there was 100, 200 people coming to your house. Would you rather have a handgun or a rifle with real ammo, or do you want to have mace and rubber bullets to defend you and your family? If people was outside your house, the man to kill you and your family, which one do you want to have? Real bullets, handguns and rifles, or mace and rubber bullets?
Shit, I'd rather have a nuclear fucking weapon. Fucking
Exactly.
blow
That
you.
part, we're
Exactly.
gonna blow ourselves up with everybody.
Exactly. Okay.
Give me a 50 cal.
Kamikaze.
Okay. Okay.
So,
But
so
go
this,
ahead. Whoever's next.
yeah. So this is what I was gonna say. I don't. I'm concerned about some of you. Because how you protecting your family? Oh, you're breaking into my house. I'm just gonna shoot you in your ankle. Okay, that's it. It's gonna do
In the
just
pinky
enough.
toe.
Yeah, I'm just gonna, just spray some mace on you and hope it don't do anything. Like I don't know if y'all know of anyone. If to my veterans, thank you for your service, my brothers and sisters in arms. But y'all know where I'm about to go. Okay, on deployment. Okay, let me tell you what terrorism looks like, because that was a terrorist attack. That was domestic terrorism. That officer assessed the situation. It's kind of like a quarterback in the pocket, kind of looking and assessing and looking to see what's the best pathway to de-escalate the situation. He had every right to just fire off rounds at that whole wall of people that were aggressive, whose intent was to get beyond the barrier that was in front of them after they passed up 3 barriers. Their intent was to get through that and then
Preach,
do what? Have
preach,
tea.
preach,
They wanted
sister,
it was a
preach,
it was a barbecue. What did they expect? What you thought they was gonna pray? What you
preach, sister,
thought?
Chad,
preach.
Chad,
I'm just asking, huh?
Man, chat, if I
it's
shot somebody in my California house unarmed, I would be defending myself in court for a very long time.
No, you
Man,
won't.
They
girl.
wasn't unarmed.
No, you won't.
First of
Ashlee
all,
Babbit was not armed.
yes, she was an aggressor. She was she
This
was
is the thing.
infiltrating. She was infiltrating a federal building.
You're a freaking terrorist.
She is a terrorist.
exactly.
100%.
And
A thug,
how
a
did they
thug,
know
She was
that
a
she
he
was
hoodlum,
didn't have
a
a weapon?
she
A
was a
thug.
thug
hoodlum.
domestic terrorist. Matter
Don't
of fact,
make
if
me
she would have
bring back
lived,
up.
she would have if she would have lived, she would have been on terrorist watch list. Okay, she would have been up there next to them other people. Like this is the thing. This is the arrogance of Americans, that you don't think that Americans can be terrorists. You know how arrogant that is? Hmm? That these people literally conspired and incited and infiltrated the Capitol, the symbol of democracy in this country. It could have literally signaled to other countries that they could do the same, that they can infiltrate and take out. Because believe me, there are daily threats against that same building from foreign adversaries
Bingo. Bingo,
that
chat.
y'all don't know. You don't know about it. But because you're Americans, you're arrogant and you don't understand the level of threat that is on this country minute by minute. So yeah, that officer get like literally if he was in the military, he would have got like pulled to the side, or he would have been like, Zay, you waited too long to pull that trigger. Matter of fact, they all should have been out. He put not only himself at risk, but he put all of those elected officials. That thoroughfare, that hallway, was literally the speaker's hallway. And if y'all have never been, have y'all been? I mean, well, no, I can't say that because most of you probably haven't been in that area. But understand what is also at risk. Guess what? You don't know if there was an actual foreign terrorist that infiltrated and snuck. But there are so many different scenarios that could have played out, and we are lucky that that was the only person that died. That is that honestly. Now I value human life, but I'd be damned if I value terrorism because I don't. I'm sorry. They went through if you I'm tempted to even show y'all the video. There are and I live
Preach.
literally down the street. There are barricades. You have police vehicles, you have barricades. Then you have concrete columns, if I remember correctly. Then you have the stairs. Then you have armed guard. No, you have armed guards. Then I'm sorry, the stairs, armed guards, and that's even before you get in the building. So they let them exercise their right to protest. Then they put up nooses on the lawn. On the freaking lawn, y'all. They put up a freaking noose and was yelling, hang, kill Mike Pence. What hello? What grades y'all on? Hmm? This is even
Exactly.
before we even get in the building. Then we get in the building and y'all, did y'all believe that they said that they were tourists? That because they saw a few people taking pictures that it was peaceful. You can't keep lying to the American people and telling them one thing and we see something else. And what I'll say this and I'll land. This is the danger. Because if the shoe was on the other foot, and I'm not even talking about race, I'm talking about if Democrats did the same shit, what would you say? The fact that you all want to be, those of you that agree with this, that you think that he should have tased, pinched her, okay, maybe choked her, I don't know. And she is actively attempting, and you notice none of the other men attempted to do what she did. They let her dumb ass get up there and try to get. So, like, y'all are not, y'all, please think beyond personality, think beyond party, and think about America. And I'm done.
Facts.
Chat, I want to say this, chat. I want to like the people that saying this is a peaceful protest. All right, I just want to tell you guys how dangerous what danger MAGA put America in. Okay, for all you peaceful protesters out there. All right, there was literally thousands of people out there that tried to break into there. Now let's now know that let's say Al Qaeda, yo, ISIS, and everyone they have cells there, whatever. They now know that when Trump has a protest, if something like this happened, that they're liable to do something like that. They can embed people amongst those crowds with suicide vests and everything else to get into the heart of our government, to attack the heart of our government. Because guess what? Those people that went in there, they just went in there. They put everyone at risk. They put it all at risk. And yet you guys are saying that what happened was okay. What happened wasn't okay. All right. They Lord knows how many terrorists could have gotten in there because they didn't have to go through the metal detectors. They didn't have to go through anything. Okay. They could have came in. And not only that, once they got in there, they could have planted all kinds of bugging devices because they were in the speaker's office. They were doing all kinds of stuff. Okay, they were on the floor. They could have done all kinds of stuff. They made our country in that moment very unsecure. But everyone's sitting there and they're all saying that it was okay because the people looked like them and thought like them. All right,
Um,
but they wouldn't give that grace to anyone else.
this is Jen. I'm just curious to you as well as chat. I mean, when do you believe? I mean, because I mean, I agree completely. Like when it's I mean, it's terrorism. When anyone else does it, it's terrorism. But when a white person does it, it's not called terrorism, which is exactly what it is. At what point? Because I know Chad's military history. Do you feel that we are going to have? Because I mean, I don't. I see it as being inevitable. I don't want it, but blood in the streets, basically.
Was Dr. Jen?
Yeah. Did you?
That's Dr.
Hey, love.
Jen.
Hey, Dr.
Hey,
Jen, how you
sis.
doing?
I'm good. I'm good.
Well, Dr. Jen, we certainly don't want blood in the streets. But let me just say this right here. That's why I'm so opposed to what happened. Donald Trump, by doing what he's doing, he ordering having his DOJ settle and do this. This is all set up because what they're trying to do is whitewash. I'm not talking about race. I'm talking about just whitewash J6
No,
to try
you're
to make it
right.
out to be a pro.
That's the right
They think that,
terminology.
huh?
I said, no, you're right. That's the right terminology. Whitewashing.
Yeah, but to try to make it look like it was a peaceful protest, and they think that the history books, and they're going to try to order people to say stuff, you know. But once they're out of office, all that stuff is going to be changed back to where it's supposed to be. And that's why Dr. Jen, that's why I love social audio. I laugh about it all the time. I play around with AI a lot now, and we see what it's going to do. So people aren't going to be able to lie later on about the views that they have, especially if they're speaking on these platforms. All right, because believe it or not, these each one of our podcasts, there's a transcript that comes with each and every one of them. So they're transcribed, so you can literally search and find it right then and there. So each one of them are transcribed. So and people are going to be held accountable for the sneaky shit they're doing. And that's why I always say, like, hey, I want you to come up here. I want you to speak your truth. I want to speak my truth. I want to be on record. That way I can be held accountable for what I said. And I want others to be held accountable. Okay. So, um, with that being said, Dr. J, I hope it doesn't come to that again, because I think both sides are going to fight very hard. Okay.
I'm
And
just amazed, not to interrupt, but I'm just amazed every single day you're seeing where people are protesting. And being, I mean, there were 70 people, I don't know, I think it was in Philadelphia, I could be wrong, but 70 people were arrested today. And it's just every day people are not like letting up, and I love it. I hope that it does stay peaceful, but yeah, I don't know. I just don't see it ending. So then I look at the fact that um, impeachment. I mean, I know that I have a girlfriend that really stays up on this, and um, then I know somebody that worked for the campaign for Kamala's campaign, and there's like when 3.5% of the population has spoken out for such a period of time that there isn't, the opportunity for impeachment. I don't know enough about it to speak on it, but I don't know if Chat does or anyone else does. But I don't want to see it go into the streets either.
it's not about the population; it's about Congress and impeachment. And I think it's too early for that impeachment talk. I don't think there's anything been done that's impeachment worthy. The American people voted for a lot of stuff that's happened. Well,
Well, did they?
my
That's the thing.
Dr. Jen, I'm gonna tell you this right here. This is what I gotta say. Um, when I was younger, growing up, I would look at the books and history and social studies and history classes and different things like that, and I was like, wow. And and when I was growing up, I mean, I'm talking about 10, 15 years prior, and this stuff was in history books 10, 15 years prior. And as a kid, to me, like I was like, whoa, that was a long time ago. When I'm learning about this stuff in third grade, fourth grade, and they tell me something that happened 15 years ago, you know, and I'm like, wow, that was a long time ago. But because to your kid, it seemed like a long, long time ago. But and I say all that to say this: I always wondered, like, why people chose the wrong side. Obviously, and it's apparent which side was the wrong side. I'm happy, okay, that I get a chance to live. I was regretful that I'm living in this time, and we're going through this because I thought that most of a lot of these battles were fought and won already. But I'm thrilled that I get to live in a time where I get to choose a side, okay, and do it so vocally, and I have a platform like I have, and do it as boisterous and vocally that when history is told and people want to hear how people were speaking about it. You go back and you read, people will put out little newspapers or newsletters and stuff like that, and they're like, oh, this person, you know, people are going to be able to go back and hear exactly how I felt and what I felt and where I stood on this and many others, and they're going to know. And that's one thing about me. I'm not I'm not taking I'm not doing a crap shot here. I'm not going against I'm going with sure winners where people are going to really in history. They're going to look back, and I know that I'm going to be on the right side because I don't have to craft a defense for my side. I don't have to craft a defense for my side. I just look at it and I call balls and strikes. That's all I get to do. Call balls and strikes all day long. The people that have to craft a defense, uh, in a few years, it's going to be indefensible, and they're going to look for shelter. They're going to seek shelter. And unfortunately, if they were on social media, Instagram, and all this, posting all that other shit, or even on social audio, posting saying all the shit they're saying, they're not going to find shelter. People are going to hold them to their words. People already when you go to when you go for a job interview, they already look at your social media anyway. So they're going to be looking at any and everything, especially if we go anywhere near that social credit score that they have, like they have China and other countries, where they look at your social credit score. If we go anywhere near that, they're done. I land.
Yeah, I've had to do that because I'm an adjunct professor, and so I'm representing. I've already had. There was one point where I had photos up, and they took them into the professor. And I'm like, that is that my is that my professor? But what you were talking about earlier, and then I'll wrap it up, Jonathan, is when you were talking. About people want to act like this was so long ago, and it's not. I mean, my children's husband, I'm sorry, my children's father, late, I've been grading papers for days. um they were sharecroppers, and their parents were slaves. So I mean, everyone thinks is like this is so long ago, and it's not. You go back a couple generations and there it is. So I just wanted to point that out because I don't want that to pass anybody by, because I think so many people, especially people who aren't aware, um, it's just like if Dr. King were alive today, how old he would die? I think he would be, and Frank, they'd be like 83, 93. I don't know the math right now, but we want to act like it was so long ago when it really wasn't.
No, 100%. Hey guys, yeah, CH. You guys, anybody else on CH over there want to jump in, man? Come on, this is we're here, just having a conversation. Let's go.
Can I say something? Anybody on CH?
Go ahead. I'll jump in after you.
Oh, no. Go ahead,
No,
Q.
actually,
Go.
I need a moment to think. Go ahead, please.
Oh, okay. Well, like Dr. Jen, like that's a great point. Like we aren't that far removed from that. I do, however, wonder if people think beyond the action and think about the repercussions or the consequences of the action. And what I mean, I'm not talking about from an Ashlee Babbit standpoint, but all of us that are on the outside looking in, right? Like the thing that makes the democracy great is that we can peacefully protest, and we don't act like thugs when we protest. We don't do that. That's not what we do. I didn't fight for this country for that. Okay. The thing that it is also could be a consequence or a repercussion is how other countries, how we try to sell democracy It's a PR thing to me. How can we sell democracy, or how can we sell America as this great nation when we act like the countries that we condemn? The same, and it's not just that. It is how DOJ on one hand said one thing, and I learned this when I worked in ethics at OGE, that depending on who the president is it'll depend on, or DOJ will side 9 times out of 10 on the side of whoever appointed them, and that's dangerous. I don't know if we even understand precedents. What if another American citizen wants to go to Austin? A group of people want to go to Austin and do the same thing. What if other states, because I don't know if y'all know, but that was actually a threat at even in Austin and here in Texas, but other state capitals, that people wanted to do the same thing. And some tried and they were thwarted. That these actions are not insulary, and they're not one-offs. There are consequences and repercussions to every action that is made, and not only what she did but what Trump just did by saying to this country that martial law, okay, because that's what's happening. It's like, hey, whatever, you can take the law in your hands and do what you will, and I will have your back. That's why they were emboldened to go to the Capitol, because no one in their right mind would go to the freaking to the U.S. Capitol and do what they did. But if I think I have the backing of the president, and I believe that he's going to turn this thing around, even though he lost the election, I believe in him so much that I believe I can take the election back for him. That I have that much lunacy in a democracy is crazy to me. If you think about what happened. This man said the election was stolen. These people said we're going to get it back by force. How? That's not how you get it back. That's not democracy. So if y'all are okay with tearing down the fabric of this country, and what this country stands for, what people have given their lives for in uniform. If y'all are okay with that, then let's go. But understand, one day, the people are going to counter this ideology. And will you be prepared on what that countermeasure will be? I'm done.
Well, I just was say that. Oh, go ahead, Dr. Jenny, if you're gonna say something.
No, 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 no. I was gonna say everything that she said was just so on point. I mean, I remember when the insurgents happened. It happened on my birthday. I mean, I just that's not a big deal for anybody else, but um, yeah, I remember because I have folks that work in the FBI with the work that I do. For like 2 days, people were telling me to, do you have anybody in the area? Tell them not to. So they knew something was coming. They knew it was happening. But no, I was just going to comment on the fact that chat was just so on point. Go ahead, Quentin.
Yeah.
Thanks,
Yeah.
Dr. Jen. Love
Love
you.
you too,
Okay.
sweetheart.
Oh. Okay. Now I was about to say, as an American though, being a young black man in America, me seeing what happened on January 6th, and then seeing them get pardoned, and even some of them going back, getting back out, and then still doing crimes and getting shot or going back to jail. I just think it's really a slap in the face because last every time anybody else has, we demand things, we do it the proper way, and we still get the dogs and the fire hose and the what's it the what did dude say earlier about like not the bullets but you shoot them with like rubber bags or whatever. I just think it's a slap in the face for everything that's going on right now for everybody else that marches and for things they believe in, and we sit here and get the rough end of the stick while other people get to say, while they got the backing of a president to come and bond them out or to vouch for them for everything they do. I just think this is, it's really two Americas, and you have the Trump and his cult of people seeing the world one way that, hey, if we gonna go take back an election, we gonna go do it, the violent way, which even though if they would have broke through or whatever, how would y'all have, what was the plan to do what? I don't even know what was the plan going to be outside of killing them, thinking, okay, we killed Mike Pence and whoever else. What's next after that? Like, I don't think they even had a plan to be like, what's next. They was just going about to do things just to do it, off of the president's word. But yeah, the majority of us knew better, but I just don't like the fact that we would have never done so, even if we had open invitation to do so. I still don't think all our people would have been like, "This is a trap. We better not take your ass up to no damn Capitol, thinking you about to ride and get away with it." So we, I just feel lost that sometimes. Think looking at the situation, and we really have reasons why we fight and march, and they're out here just doing stuff, but they get the benefit of the doubt. They get to say, hey, we wasn't doing it for this, or we innocent, or we get to sue. Most of us would have been locked up under the jail still right now.
Absolutely. To this day,
To
right?
this day, most likely wouldn't even, you know, had no nothing. We've been on terrorist watch list. Hell, if anything, with Trump doing this stuff with Mexico, this El Salvador jail, he probably been trying to send us the thugs, as he would say it, the homegrown thugs. He probably been trying to send them off to the jail to free up space here in America, type thing. Like, oh yeah, send those Black Lives Matter people or whoever else that's marching for different occasions, send them all down there and make room versus these people getting the grace they're getting, and they're technically terrorists. So I don't know. It's just a real crazy world we live in, though.
Yeah, Chad, can I chime in a little bit? This is Chris. Um,
Jump in, Chris. I think
yeah,
she's
thank you.
stepped away.
Yeah, I want to believe we're just starting with this administrations. It's only about 100 days and maybe 100, 200, 3 days, and all this is happening. We still got more days, more months, maybe another 3 years, 3.5 years. So my belief is we're just starting. Guys, we have a monarch in power. We have a king in power. I'm not a Republican. I'm pretty much a liberal. I'm in between. But what is happening right now? What is happening right now is scary, and there's still gonna be a lot more to happen. This guy is putting things in place between right in front of our eyes that some of us are not even the so-called Republican. They're not even being careful. Now, come 3 years or 3.5 years from now on the next election, not even midterm. Midterm, we're not sure yet, even at that. But come next election, if this guy does not run third term that they're, peddling right now, even if he doesn't run it, if even if he loses, if he doesn't run it, if Vance loses, I want you guys to imagine what is going to happen. They've already put things in place. I mean, it's, thank God, DTN is here, and then all this thing can be replayed. So we need to go mark it down. We need to wake up. Unfortunately, there's nothing much we can do. We can only talk and rant and all whatnot. Right now, if you go protesting, there's every possibility that you'll be arrested. People are afraid right now. Even people within the Republican Party are afraid of this guy. So I think we're in a fix. I rest my mic.
I guys, this is just incredible. I think having a president pardon everyone involved in the riot, and then afterwards have that same president turn around and settle a lawsuit with someone that was killed in the commission of a crime by a law enforcement official. Guys, I don't know. You look at this, you don't know which way is up, you don't know which way is down, you don't know which way is right, you don't know which way is left. You don't know what's what any longer. And that's the part that got me. And so when Leah read this article, it just stunned me. It shocked me. That's all. I wasn't prepared for this, so it was shocking. But like
I
I
think
said,
it was the responsible thing to do, no, Jonathan?
do what was that? Settle?
No, I mean, listen. So, and the more I read this, the more I think it's tough because President Trump, if you go with the narrative that the J6ers went there because they believed the election was stolen, they believed that they were exercising their American right to go and protest. If all of this is because of that, I'm assuming that he feels some type of responsibility to it. I mean, remember, he still genuinely feels that election was stolen, despite all the trials that are showing or that showed that it wasn't. He is still committed to that. Those people that went in there with that in their ear. Ashlee Babbit, in 10 years, I think she did almost 8, 9 deployments, all combat zones. I'm not excusing her. I'm not saying she was right. I'm not saying that her actions didn't lead her to be shot and killed. What I am saying is that there could have been a different way of handling that situation, especially after the other video that was not played until Nelson brought it in that showed there were other armed people there that could have prevented the 60, 70 Congress people from being killed because they would have been able to execute lethal force. So I think that President Trump, listen, if he goes and he names an act after her, I think that's going to be a little much for me. But he's, in my opinion, taking responsibility for all of it in some way, shape, or form, in my perspective.
But Diana, he's doing it at the
Yep.
expense of the taxpayers. Like, does that even make sense? She literally was breaching a door that led to a body of members of Congress. Like the members of Congress, even when they travel together, they have all the protection of every law enforcement entity you can think of, because having them all in one spot is always a risk to our national security. So having those people scale the walls, they literally scale the walls, break into the building, break into a congressional door on the floor, and literally she was going through it. What was she going to do when she got inside, Diana? What do you think she was going to do? When you look at her actions, look at her body movements, what do you think she was going to do? Their job is first and foremost is to protect those members of Congress. Period. That was their job. So if she decided to do everything she did to go somewhere where she was not supposed to be lawfully and go through the door, what was she going inside to do?
The challenge for me, Rachel, are all the what ifs because I'm forcing my brain into legal form and just taking the acts, right? Like, for example, I know it's a different situation, but we also have been talking in Debate the News about what was it, the stabbing of the 2 high school kids, right? And the whole stand your ground and the whole you touch me and it's okay for me to stab you in the heart. And so I'm trying to just take frame by frame to be able to come up with something that I don't think is a win-win for anybody, but this is America. Listen, in the chat was going crazy, right? So they brought up also all of the due process that you're going to use thugs. Let's use thugs for Tren de Aragua members and all of the due process that people are fighting for in Ashley's case, to hear her called a dog that deserved to die without any, first of all, she is dead, but without any even process of her mental well being, her deployments, this shit that Trump keeps saying that the election was stolen despite, you know what I mean? Like, I'm looking at just that and her case.
Okay, so basically, what you're doing is minimizing the fact that had she not scaled the walls, broke through the windows, broke through the doors, tried to break into the floor where the members were, then she wouldn't have been shot and killed. You're not looking at that, okay? So the bottom line is conflating this with everything else, conflating it, literally conflating it with the young boy who stabbed the student in Texas. Like, that situation is not even the same thing, because you had this one person that had two brothers that were super giants, basically, coming at him with all the stuff that's coming out right now. And so, yeah, he defended himself. That has nothing to do with someone who made a choice with hundreds of other people to go and try to take back the vote because they believe Donald Trump did not win per Donald Trump, sending them to go and do it. They literally breached an institution of this country. They
The
breached it.
comparison, a
They
comparison
no no
was
no
for
no
imminent
it
danger.
it does not even matter about imminent. You know who
It
was
does.
imminent?
It's the
You
law.
no, but you know who was in imminent danger? Those members of Congress.
Not really.
That's
Not with
that's who
four
that's who
other. Not
that's
with
who
four
was in
other
imminent
armed
danger.
guards.
That okay, it was four armed guard against
Yeah, they would have been able to give
how
JB the
many
bloodbath he wanted to see.
how many insurrectionists was there compared to those four? How
We're
many
only
cops?
talking about
How many
Ashlee
police
Babbitt's
officers did
case.
you see getting their asses beat
We're only talking about
by
Ashlee
all the
Babbitt.
people that was there?
Now I'm talking
How
more
many
than
people
Ashley
did you see
Babbitt.
get smashed into the doors by all of the people that was there? They were outnumbered. Let's start with that.
One case at a
Exactly.
Let's start with
time.
that. They were outnumbered. They were outnumbered. Okay. So at the end of the day, if they breached and tried to go, their job was to defend those members, and that's exactly what they did. Did anybody else go through the door after she got shot? Did anyone else try and go through that hole in the door? Did any of the other insurrectionists try
That's
and
the
go in?
reason that he should have shot differently. That's just my
Well,
opinion.
no.
Shot
Yeah.
differently.
Well, at the
Listen,
end
if
of the
they
day,
didn't have four
if
other
y'all,
armed guards there, I would have thought differently. And I was thinking differently.
But you're not even making
why did she
sense
go through
though.
the door, Diana? They
Listen,
and then they tell
because the president
and
was
then they
sitting there
tell
saying the
her
election was
and then they
stolen.
tell her to stop. How
Because
many
the
times did they
president
warn
sat
her?
there
How
and
many
said
times
the
was she
election was
warned
stolen.
not to go through the door? How many times?
Oh,
But you're
you was
sitting here and
there.
saying, "Oh, but it was four of them." How many members of Congress was in there from the House and the Senate?
Those were
Hunker
big guns,
down,
Rachel.
hunker down. How many members of Congress was in there? Did they know what people were coming into that space with? Did they
There
know
weren't
whether
more
or
than
not
10
did they
people in
know
that
whether did
crowd.
they know whether or not they had guns? They know whether or not she had a gun.
There were no more than 10 people in that
Did they
supposed
know whether or
crowd.
not she had a gun?
That's not
They knew
true.
that she didn't have it in her hands. She didn't have shit in her
Did
hands.
they know whether or not anybody that was with her had a gun?
Mm.
Did the high school
It's the
kid
most
know the kid
ridiculous
had a
thing in the
knife? Did
world.
the high school kid know the
It's
kid had a
ridiculous.
knife? Did the high
Hold
school
on, I
It's
kid
thought
not
know
the
you
the
was
same
staying
knife?
thing.
on Ashley
They're not the
Babbitt
same
now.
thing. Stop conflating. They're
It
not
is
the
the
same
same
Right.
thing.
thing.
No, you want to
Excessive
make it the same thing
force.
because you want to have an
It's
argument
not the
for it, but
same
it's
thing.
not the same thing.
One mic, guys. Come on, we can't do that. We got a podcast.
My bad, man.
We got no, not you. I'm talking about. Yeah, Rochelle, guys, we got a podcast.
I'm done.
Me too.
Yeah. I just, I just think it's weird that people can't make a statement and stand on it. They always want to, what's it, compartmentalize different aspects of the story and then say we standing on it talking about this one thing but then bring up teenagers with a knife and did you know this, but you want to stay on Ashley Babbitt, stay on Ashley Babbitt. Like, it's crazy. There's no, you can't give no reasons. You just picking and choosing different things and not answering the hard questions that the lady's asking you. I'm sorry, I don't know her name, but just let you know I'm a big fan of yours. But yeah, I just think it's funny that when people are at these Trump followers or thinking that you should have shot differently. First off, do you think the people, Mike Pence and all them, or want people to be shot in the leg or worry about that, or they worry about coming home tonight and making it out alive? And if we gotta kill a few people to get them out the way so they can be safe, that's what they want. They're not sitting here thinking about, oh well, just don't kill the bad guys. Just mace them. Don't kill the bad guys. Just shooting in the ceiling. Don't kill the bad guys. Just hit them in the leg or something. I'm like, no, kill these jokers until they realize, y'all ain't going. We're not letting y'all pass. Like anything else is they're like a what the fuck moment. Who gives a fuck? Like that shit's crazy as hell. And everybody keep not just Diana, but everybody on Trump's side to keep doing that same talking point over and over again. That shit's weird. Like y'all want violence in some spots and some things you don't want violence in. That's crazy. But I'm done.
I, no,
Yeah, like
I
at a school event, track event. We don't want no violence there.
Yeah,
Yet the two brothers towered over the young man, and they were the aggressors. They
And they
touched him
had
first.
four armed
They
guards
touched
there.
they touched him first.
But there
right.
was violence, and there's going to be more if something that doesn't happen. And it's just it's the arrogance and I hate to say it, but the ignorance if we don't realize this. I mean, I can't even fathom. I don't know the rationale that you're giving for, you know, why it happened. I don't know what your name is either, and also am a fan. I can't remember her name either, Quentin, but she lays it
It's
down and she
Rachel.
just right. Rochelle,
For
yes, yes, I
sure.
love
Okay,
you. Yeah,
thank you.
yeah. I'm not. I'm gonna be coming back to I'm gonna be coming back to Chatter just for this room alone, so I'll be back soon.
And doctor, just so that I understand, what's the rationale you believe that I'm giving for this? This is Diana.
Hi, Diana. I just think that you're double-minded in it, and I mean, we can. Here's the thing with me, with a real debate, you can disagree, you can agree to disagree. I don't agree with anything that that you're saying. If that's what you believe, then hey, that's your right to do so. But and that's why I like debate rooms that actually allow perspectives from all people to be heard and respected, and that's what I'm doing. But I do not understand on any level as to how you can believe what you do. But if you do, you do, and
I
that's
think you
that.
described it perfectly with double-minded. We do, in fact, have two big parts of our brains, and then we have a midbrain that we can utilize as well. So I tend to use all of it.
Yeah, well, I mean, we can go into that. I'm a psychologist. That's not, it's there's also something that's just called denial, but that's all right. I'm not going to get into that discussion tonight. I mean, I'm a psychologist, so we choose what we make the choice.
I agree with the denial part. For example, it was said in the first show, it was actually a question. What would have happened if Ashlee Babbit would have made it all the way through the window? I believe that at that point, the three or four armed guards that were not previously shown in the video presented would have shot everybody there if they would have gotten close to the cabinet members.
So
So
she
it
would have
is
died anyway.
denial to think that they were an imminent threat. That's the denial I see after reading all of this in the last 2 hours while we've been here.
So
How
you
do
saying
they
she
know
would
that
have?
they
So
were
you saying she
not
would have did not
an
got killed
immediate threat?
anyway though? That's what you're saying
Because
though.
there were four big ass police people with huge guns right behind her that could have shot everybody on command if they would have gotten close to those doors.
no, no, Diana. Guys? What happened? Okay, this is how secure that area was. They had three armed guards outside, and they had several armed guards inside. The mob broke through and got there to where the three guards were, and they had weapons and everything else. They forced the three guards aside that was protecting that door. See, they had protection on that door. Okay, so that's why when people say she didn't get far enough in, okay, they had protection on that door. They had three armed guards. They removed the protection. They removed the three armed guards, and the three armed guards were faced with a decision to let them the door do its job or kill and shoot some of them. And the armed guards decided to move to the side Okay, rather than fight. They didn't. They had them because they're up against a mob of people.
Right.
So let's say when they're saying that there's just guards standing there, they were standing there trying to fight. They'll push them back, and the crowd overtook them. All right,
We
so
did
they
not see
moved.
the same video, Jonathan. Those guards were not overtaken by nobody. That woman walked down an
One
empty
second.
hallway.
One second. The guards over there, they were overtaken. And then if you play the video, see what you don't have, you have the video from the people that was there when they got there. Okay, but those guards stood in front of that door, and we read and chat read the congressional report. Okay, from their investigation, those guards were overtaken. Here, I'll read that for a part for you. Okay, here, let me see if I can find it.
I'm talking about the guards with Ashlee Babbit, the one from the video that was played after
Let
Nelson
me.
brought it up.
Was
Okay,
Ashley Babbit. Okay.
1 second, because you said, wow. 1 second here, just gotta do this quick message. This is crazy. Here now I'll go back and get this.
Show the video, Dan.
No, where's that? Here's right here. All right, the press release. It says, close to the public. Yeah, the investigation determined. Glass door hallway speaker chamber members. All right. Eventually, the three USCP, the U.S. Capitol Police officers positioned outside the door, were forced to evacuate.
Yeah,
So,
well, force doesn't mean the same thing to all of us. Don't you forget about COVID.
Oh my
okay,
God. That's the
all right,
Uh-huh.
I
weak
give up.
as
I give up.
that is
So do
weak as hell.
we.
That
Listen,
was
I'm
a
not
weak
saying
as
she
a
was
response.
right. I'm not saying that, I'm not saying any of that. I'm
How'd
just
you
saying that there's a reason there are criminal investigations and civil suits. That's all
oh
I'm
my
saying. And there's a
God.
lot more to this
See,
story and a lot more to these damn videos than y'all try to show us.
I don't know what y'all trying to show us. I mean, this stuff is on the internet for a reason. You can look it up too. But to say force don't mean the same thing. Don't forget about COVID. That was just like God. Like it's like y'all are purposely just don't want to believe what's the truth is and give
No,
these
you just forget we've all
bullshit
been hanging here for 4 years, Q.
responses. Huh?
You just forget that we've been hanging here for 4 years. Jonathan said that we were not forced to take the COVID vaccine. Other people
I'm
say
not.
that we
No,
were
don't. I
forced.
don't
It's the
know. We're
same
not
thing
talking
here
about the COVID
with
vaccine.
Ashley
I don't even
Babbitt.
know. That's
Hey
the
guys,
point. I don't even know why you
the
brought that
people are
up.
forced. You got an armed gang, a mob, and they're talking about that the armed mob forced you. We know what that means. Let's not. I don't want you losing credibility over this.
Exactly. Like, what are we talking about? Don't bring up a whole different subject just to try to make a point that doesn't exist. Like that's crazy. You know what I'm saying?
Intent
Stay
breeds
on
intent.
topic. How don't move back to
Imminent
COVID.
danger
Lord
is
knows I don't
imminent
want to hear
danger.
that.
These are legal terms.
So you have a mob of people, and and imagine they would have started shooting, and they would have ran out of bullets, and you still got more people coming at you, then you just would have been killed as a police officer trying to maintain, and you killed a bunch of their friends, so they about to just shoot you back too. It would have been a lose for them, a loss for them to even fire shots. So instead, they was fighting back, pushing them back with their rifles. But the people forced them out the way. Like, is that hard to believe or to even think about in your mental, seeing how that would play out?
It is hard to
Did you
believe
have to
because of the
bring up
video we
COVID
saw,
just to make a
Q.
point about that? That didn't make no
It's hard to
sense.
believe
It's
because of the
crystal
video we
clear.
saw, Q. That's why.
How many people was watching it in real time as they were showing it on all of the networks, Fox,
Yeah, I was.
MSNBC, CNN? How many people were watching that?
This is
The,
Dr.
the
Jenna
So
video,
Berry.
wait
that
one
was
second. The
fake.
video we saw, guys, don't let Diana gaslight you. The video we saw confirms everything that we've been seeing always. It's the same videos, okay?
Sure.
And Nelson pointed out that there are always tops because they knew about that. That report been out. People been talking about that, but just because Nelson pointed like, oh look, this officer's right there. Now all of a sudden, that's the crazy thing about chatter. People are like, oh yeah, we can lay our hat on that. Okay,
Jonathan, you
if
wrong
well,
for
one second, hold on,
this.
one second, hold on. If that was the case, how come? all of MAGA hasn't laid their hat on that. How come all of MAGA not saying that? Oh, there was officers there. No one was saying that. No one's all of a sudden and debate the news. And I know debate news is all that, but we discover shit that hasn't been discovered yet. From video that's been viewed millions of times, but we're the only ones that discovered that shit, and it becomes a talking point. I land.
Y'all overuse that word gaslighting like you guys overuse the
I
word
never used
MAGA.
gaslight. I even use. I never. The guys that word came out of my mouth one time today, just now.
Not
Never.
at all.
So what are you talking
Q.
about?
She's
Where's
having a
that?
Freudian slip, Jonathan.
Yeah,
And,
that's what I'm
and
saying. Because I never even said that word. What's going on with you, Diane? Are you okay? Are you having a stroke over there?
Man.
and don't cue me like I'm a logical person. I don't sit here and pick sides just to be on Bing's side because I'm on Clubhouse. I'm a
How
logical
you gonna
person.
say you logical when you on Clubhouse and you can be on Chatter? What's wrong with you?
Oh my god, y'all you can't even stick to the topic. I'm just like you like Q like I'm saying something wrong. I see the news too. Like what we talking about? I can make a logical decision and say oh, this is wrong on the thug side, not on the police or the Mike Pence. Next thing you know, you're gonna start blaming Mike Pence and everybody else, the Congress people, for even being there. What they doing working that day anyway? Like, come on, bro. Like,
No, but Q, don't you
what?
think that Trump has a little bit of responsibility in all of this, though? That's got to weigh in a little bit. At least it does for me. And that she was a veteran on 8 deployments
So she should have
in
known. So she
Iraq
should
and
have known better
Afghanistan.
then.
No, you know how many vets are enraged with that war, and to have the president and the administration kind of, I don't know, I don't want to say that they're playing off of these emotions, but it's definitely feeling that way when you look at this specific case. It's not okay, you guys.
So them being mad at Trump caused them to go run up into the do a riot and be labeled as a terrorist and whatnot for Trump.
Opposite, not because they were mad at him, because they truly believed that an election was stolen, which goes against all American values. And this was
And so,
fueled.
what was going to be next after they broke through and got through and they hung Mike Pence and whoever else? What was going to
Ain't
be next?
nobody
They
blaming
just going to
Mike
kill him and go
Pence.
home and say, "Yeah, man, we did that. Trump got us. We ain't going. We did that. We just went out there with cameras everywhere, no mask on. Kill. We hung Mike Pence like we said we was going to do. Killed the other ladies." Security guards, we got them out the way quick, because we all got ARs and rifles. And we killed them, we did that. But what laws, what did they get passed for doing such a thing? Except for now they about to be hunted by the US. Oh, it got real quiet. Okay. Okay. I thought so.
I'm also, this might sound stupid. I do have a question though. Why were they trying to kill Mike Pence? Wasn't he like Trump's VP?
Well,
I
because he
don't get
stood
it.
against him, because he came out against him at the end. That's why.
I see. Okay.
He was doing his job and following the rules.
Thank you. So, it was, a bunch of followers, like what's going on this chatter and in Clubhouse with this debate. Bunch of followers speaking and can't even stand on what they saying. They just want to keep moving the goalposts when you ask them a real direct question.
Hey, Q, I want to play devil's advocate.
By all means.
You said they were going to go home and say, well, Trump's got me. They actually aged well because Trump did have them. I just want to point that little piece out.
Mm, can't buy that. He did buy
And
it.
to whoever asked why they wanted to hang Mike Pence, so it had to do with Mike Pence refusing to overturn the Electoral College certification of Joe Biden's win. So that's what made the rioters go against Mike Pence. And so again, it ties into President Trump. And so for me, part of the reason that he decided to act the way that he has been acting is because there, in my opinion, there's an obvious layer of responsibility there with what happened on January 6th.
I think that if once again, yeah, he refused to not certify the election. Trump wanted a constitutional crisis, and Mike Pence said he doesn't have a say in it. His role is just for formality, and he's going to do it. And so they wanted to kill him because of that. So you know, I 100%. I'm not one to sit here and say that I'm not gonna pull any punches. Ashlee Babbit is where she belongs, dead, and and it's fortunate for others because they could have very well easily been right there beside her, feeding maggots.
Beating maggots, maggots and MAGA. It's like soil. You mix them together and grow your food.
That's exactly right. So yeah,
Y'all both have lost your mind.
No, yeah, actually. That's actually made perfect. When he said that, I said, "Oh, maggots and, and MAGA, the next soil creator. Y'all about to be out here
Hold on, Diane. You
farm,
believe that
farming
she
land."
should? You do you believe that that was injustice towards her?
I think that they could have waited to shoot her. I don't think that she should have been shot dead at that specific point. I think he could have made a um, different decision. And then, you know, what changed it for me, Chris, was the video that was played with, I want to say three or four, the three or four armed guards that I believe were there when she walked through the empty hallway and then met them at that door. I don't know how the hell these officers got to be behind the crowd with supposedly that they were forced with big ass guns. So that changed it for me because I don't know if you were here when Jonathan asked me if what if, right? What if they would have waited and she would have gotten through? I didn't know all those police officers were behind her, but I did say that at that point, shoot to kill, right? If you get through and it's your last door, that's it. So yes,
But she was
prematurely.
going through.
Nah, she was going through the window.
I mean, well, it's still through a window through a door, right?
Not the same.
Oh my god!
And she wasn't all the way through. Don't, oh
Well,
my
hold on.
God,
Was
thank
it?
you.
Hold
But
on.
he might
Correct
as well
me. Am
give
I
up.
wrong? Was it a window? It was a door with a window in it that was broken, right?
It was a door with the window on the top. Yeah. She had to step on
All right. Well,
somebody.
you wanted her to actually make it through the window completely?
I wanted her to at least be
I feel like this is
immediately,
semantics.
she wanted her to
immediately.
she had to tag the officer like the game of tag. She had to at least
No,
tag the
y'all,
officer.
like it's literally called immediate threat, imminent danger. Just like in California, when somebody comes into your house, you can't just shoot them to
They
protect
not
your
in
property.
California, and this is at your
It's
house.
DC, and it's federal. You know that,
Yeah,
right?
yes, we
Like
I
can.
you,
understand that. But
everything you get
Chris,
arrested for in DC is federal.
I get it,
Exactly.
Chris,
Thank you,
but look,
Chris.
for me, it's because of all of the other factors. And I think, again, the settlement, we talked about other cases receiving settlements. And in some of those cases, the deceased, was also committing a crime. And because of certain things, the family received a settlement, right? In this
Hmm.
case, they were going to drag this out, both sides. It's not going to look good on either party. So, from a technical perspective, I don't think that this is shocking. We talked about this the last time we covered this case. This was coming. Jonathan was shocked, I get it, but this was coming. So,
Yeah, you know, though, we never talked about this and said they're going to settle. Let's not do that, Diana.
Oh,
we
don't lie on the
really,
king's
yes, we did.
name.
We
No, we
talked
didn't.
about the
We never said
difference
this is going to
between,
settle.
oh my goodness.
So she
No, we
lying
never
now.
did.
Wait a minute.
Don't be lying to make a point now. That's
Yeah, that's
crazy
what I
Wait a
work.
said,
minute. So
right?
Diana, if somebody comes over to your house
Well,
and you
me and
don't
Don't
Bean
have,
tell us
said.
who lies,
no, don't
okay?
come in, don't hurt me. Please
They
don't
gotta
come
get
in,
through the
don't hurt
window.
me.
Q, drop the lying comment. For real, for real. Would you
I'm
say,
not
Leslie?
dropping.
So
You
if
just. I'm
somebody
just
comes up in
copying
your
what
house
you
and you're
just
like,
said. You
don't come
said
in,
you
let's
and
talk
Bean had a
about it.
She just
convo.
Don't
being
Bean
hurt
said
rude.
me.
no, they
Listen, I'll
own.
be your best friend if you don't hurt me.
Who is
No,
saying that?
Leslie, I'm
What?
just saying that there are laws regarding imminent threat. That there are. And in this case, we have a full video. She didn't have a weapon in her hands when she was climbing
How
over the
do they know
window.
that?
And
Well,
and she had four armed freaking guards right behind her with big guns. And she had another one right in front of her.
Diana, could
So
you see inside her clothes? How do they know that she didn't have a weapon on her? I mean, did you see a
so
video inside of her
well,
clothes that I didn't
I
see,
mean,
maybe?
well, we could see the video again, but it's really hard to shoot when you've got both hands trying to get you over a window. So all of these things you could see in the multiple different videos and you could read about them too.
Yeah, I've seen them all.
Okay.
But
it's
Diana,
just
but
that
laws
it's
have
just that
already
they don't
cleared.
believe in the
What
truth. They want it to
laws
be
are
their
you
way.
speaking about to where there's something more other than what was already done in the investigation? Because the investigation cleared him, which means
The
he follows the law
investigation,
to the T.
yeah, they cleared him of any criminal acts, but there was a section that chat read that was section 242 that said even if the act was performed out of fear or negligence, it it didn't matter for the criminal investigation because he was cleared. Civilly, when they brought up, for example, the multiple times that he's had issues with what they called armed powers, this was being set up as negligence because she wasn't armed. There were additional armed guards there and other forms of handling her trying to get over the window could have been taken. Now, whether they would have prevailed or not is a different story. That's why these settlements take place, not just in her case, but in many other cases.
She don't deserve no damn settlement. And let's look at some actual facts. A bunch of people stormed a federal building armed, knowing you can't have weapons on federal land at all, and you have a bunch of people yelling and screaming, "Hang! We're gonna hang Mike Pence. We're gonna kill Mike Pence." So now you're threatening, a person that's is on a political stage, and there's only a certain amount of police officers there to defend them, and they never left the building. They was hiding under desks, and you had a few defend them with, and yes, they could have started shooting all of them, but though again, those rioters, those terrorists had ARs too. They had, and some of them could have had automatic weapons. We could see the videos of them jumping in with nooses and all type of gear, weapons and stuff. And y'all in here talking about, oh well, we should just shut them in the leg. We should just mace them. Oh, she was jumping through a window and she had her hands tied. But you didn't know if she had a gun in her pocket or her waistband. Because even when she got shot and the friends took her away, how y'all not how did you don't think somebody said, oh, let's take this weapon off of her so she doesn't get more time at it, slip this in my pocket. Could have been anything. We don't know. But to assume like the police were supposed to know out of all these hundreds of people that Ashlee Babbit was not armed and she was just falling through a window mistakenly, is crazy as hell. And I just don't see why you're fighting so hard to make it seem like she deserves something when she is a terrorist. It should have been a whole lot more headshots going on, to be honest with you. Like they said, smell that iron. And me too, Bing. I know
Preach,
exactly what it
preach,
feels
preach,
like.
brother Clinton.
Just to
He
point
threw
this
me
out, they
off.
didn't have
It's at
they
this
didn't
point,
have
it's just
they
the
didn't have
conversation's just
those type
going
of
in
weapons
circles.
that you're talking about. They had makeshift weapons, like utilizing furniture and
Who
stuff like that, but
knows
they didn't
that when
have
you're writing?
guns
But
on them.
you want the police to know that off the
I
top of
just
their
went through a
heads?
fact check, like as you were speaking. I was just looking it up.
That's correct, Christopher. But what he's saying is, how will the police officers be aware of that? It's not like they walked the metal detectors and was screened before they decided to do this.
Right. They didn't have time to determine which person had a weapon and which person didn't. They knew there were weapons, though.
Exactly. You talking about after the fact? Come on, man. Yeah, that's what I'm saying, Christopher. Be logical with yourselves. I'm trying to get Diana to do the same thing, like, cause if this happened literally at your house, and would you want to have a handgun and a rifle with real bullets, or do you want to have mace and these bullet punching bag things to defend you and your family, and you got 500 people outside your door screaming and they all got rifles and weapons, and they screaming, "We gonna hang Diana, we gonna kill her family." What you gonna do then? Police can't even get into the come in and help you because there's so many people between them getting in and them in the middle, and then you in your house, and your house is
Yeah,
surrounded.
but see, this is a whole different scenario. There's like this is a whole building with
Well,
several
the only difference
officers and
is
other
her
officers.
your land isn't federal.
So
That's the only difference.
let me say this, right, because now you're bringing up, so the next time there's ever a riot or people protesting, it's okay for police to just shoot them and kill them, right?
Are you purposely
I'm just
missing
asking,
this?
like if in DC,
I'm
there's ever a
responding to you. Just let
protest
me respond.
or a riot, is it okay
You're
for just people to just kill them? Because
I mean, are they doing that?
that's
And
what you
listen,
guys are
listen,
talking about.
bro.
You're
You
literally
keep.
saying that we just gotta
Can
shoot
you hear
anybody
me or
who's
We
no?
can hear
protesting.
you.
Let me just get my point across, and then you can answer.
Oh,
Because
because
you're not.
you're
Right
still
now you're
talking, Queen.
listening. Because right now you're listening to respond. You're not listening to understand. I just want to know, because you guys are all saying that because people were protesting, at a federal building in D.C., that they should have just been killed. So the next time anybody ever protests anywhere in D.C. Near any federal grounds, they should just be killed and shot in the head, right?
Okay, Christopher.
No,
Let me explain
I
something
respond
to you.
after.
Hold on. Let me explain something to you. All right, I'm gonna teach you something right now. When you ask people a question, they are listening to respond. But if you're making a statement, then they're not. Then they should be listening to understand. Okay. So you purposely left out the part where if these people go to the federal building to riot. Now, if people break into a federal building with nooses and screaming, Mike Pence needs to die, we need to hang him and all this other shit or whatever the chant was, then yes, they deserve to be shot. Okay?
In there real quick. What's up,
But you
everybody?
can't just say DC. You can't just
So,
one second,
so
Devon.
what
You
about
can't
people
just say
protesting?
DC, brother. Hold on now. It's your turn to listen. You can't just say DC. You just purposely left out the federal building.
I just
You
said on
left that
federal
out.
grounds. I said any federal
If
grounds.
somebody riots with screaming out, "We need to kill the vice president," while breaking into and if the situation recreated, yes, they deserve to be shot. How about that? Yes.
I just
Okay,
want to
so
say one
Well, hey,
thing.
hey,
Wait,
right now they're
Christopher,
saying, so right now when people
Christopher.
protest
Hey,
and say
whoa,
that,
Christopher, time
Christopher, I
out.
just want to say one
Hey,
thing.
Divine, yeah, go ahead,
We
Divine.
also got
Divine's
to
like one of the
understand
original
that. Hold on one
co-hosts.
sec, Jay. I'm gonna be real quick because I can't stay on. The area where Babbitt was, we're missing the point. The officials were in that area. That's why other protesters and people who were able to get into the Capitol were not shot. That specific area where those guards were, that was an area where officials were being held. So I think we're missing that whole point. She was about to come through the window where our elected officials were. And if I'm wrong, somebody correct me. This is a major reason why she was shot. It's like this is the barricaded area, this is the area, this is the stronghold. Oh shit, they're encroaching. It's time to shoot.
okay, if that's the case, then I hear you. I understand 100%. But just to go back to the point where, like, when you go to protests, you hear people talking about wanting to kill Donald Trump all the time, right? So just because they're protesting on federal land, right over there, and they're saying these things, so should those people who are protesting be shot in the head just because they're doing that? Because
Yeah,
this
but
is
those
what
people.
this is a lot of what I've been hearing throughout this entire argument is that all of those people should have been killed. Anybody who's doing that should have been killed, and that's pretty dangerous to me to hear that coming from people. Like I understand, like, I'm not agreeing with this whole thing. I think it's a completely stupid, that anybody did any of this shit. But this idea that, yeah, like, just kill everybody, just kill all of them. Like, I don't think that's a humane approach to go about. And this is why I was saying earlier, like, just shoot them and hurt them and like confiscate them. You know what I mean? Like arrest them and shit. As opposed to like just kill everybody, because the next time there's ever a protest, then that just means, okay, yeah, like the police can just kill everybody there, and I don't think anybody wants that.
Chris.
So
So
you're
what the deal is, Chris, is this wasn't just a federal building. This was Congress. It was closed. All of Congress, the House and the Senate, were convened. The Vice President of the United States was also there. This mob scaled the walls, broke through windows, broke through doors, and went into an area where you had a cumulative number of members of Congress. That's why she got shot. This wasn't someone that's just saying, oh, that's the Department of Education. Let me go break into the Department of Education. It was Congress. It was the sitting members of Congress all convened. They were a threat. They were screaming, hang Mike Pence, the Vice President of the United States of America. Let's switch it around. Let's say that was the president
Okay,
who was
so
there. Let's switch it around and say that was the president who was in there, and they were screaming, "Hang Donald Trump." Do you think that they would not have blown their brains out for trying to go in and mess with sitting members of Congress? Do you know what it takes when sitting members of Congress are convened, when they travel and there's a large group of them, the type of protection and law enforcement activity it take just to protect them when they're traveling in mass numbers? Because basically, if you take all of them out at one time, then we don't have a Congress. So we're not talking about some willy nilly. They charged a federal building. That's not what happened. It was Congress.
Thank you. Hopefully he's understanding.
Man, repeat what she said.
you
Go to
guys,
sleep, Diana.
didn't, you didn't get what I was talking about. I understand where you guys are coming from. I'm just talking about this thing that has been said throughout this conversation, that all of those people should have been killed, and that's what I'm asking, is that, so anytime there's a protest that on federal grounds, the police should be allowed to just kill all those people.
Nobody is
so
saying that.
hold on,
Nobody is
Michelle. Hold on,
saying that.
Michelle.
But if they're going after Congress,
Michelle. Hold on.
then yeah,
So
kill everybody.
Blow,
Yeah.
yep,
let me respond
blow
to
them
you as a
away.
vet, right? As a vet, because Chris, what you're missing here is that you're talking about a protest. So you're saying protest as if they're just regularly protesting outside on the ground. These people were breaking and entering, and that's the low level version of what we're saying, because technically they were storming a federal building. And so you're saying protest, but you're ignoring the storming and the breaking and entering of a federal building. And so when people say that they should be shot, it's because under the regulations that actually govern how things happen inside of that federal building, they should have been shot. But you're saying no, you're trying to mix that in with people who just decide to protest something on a daily basis, weekly basis, whatever the case may be. But those two aren't the same thing. When it comes to that situation, deadly force is authorized. There are different reasons, but in this case, in the defense. And so this man who actually shot Ashlee Babbit If you really look at it, people don't really understand when they're trained. He didn't want to shoot her. He took his time in shooting her. He actually shot a center mass. When everybody says blow brains out, that's actually not. You're supposed to aim center mass and shoot somebody. That's what he did, but he didn't actually even shoot that much of center mass, which means that's how much his commitment was into it. He technically didn't want to shoot her, and he only shot her once. Because if it was me, primed how I was trained, man, it would have been way more than just one bullet shot, right? The message, look, I would have done my job clearly, but he just shot once. And so in comparison to what you have as far as a riot, charging a building, breaking and entering, or just a protest, these are not the same thing. So I understand what you're saying, but you're conflating it because this is not talking about people protesting peacefully, loudly, even aggressively. These are people who have began criminal acts, and now we're talking about, now we're in the grace period or enabling them to move further because nothing was done when they first climbed over. Enabled. Nothing was done when they broke through the threshold of the door. And by the way, anyone who says threshold means going through the front door. That's going from outside to inside. That's the threshold. Anything else is not a threshold. So we should stop that. Now you're inside. They built barriers. They put furniture in front of doors, and they keep progressing. In these instances, we are not at the normal protest of what you're trying to explain, Chris, which is where the problem lies. I want to make sure we all understand this. This is why this guy was not indicted or charged or he was cleared because he did his job. To me, not even to the T, because he shouldn't have took as long because that's not how we're trained, especially not in defense of others, defense of VIPs, in defense of assets or anything important to the United States of America. You're not trained to hesitate as much as he did. And I land.
Shout out to that
Not even
brother.
that. Not even that. If he didn't shoot that
Appreciate it.
lady, do you know what type of message that would have sent to everybody else? If he didn't shoot that lady, do you realize how many other people would have just followed suit after her? You know what I mean? If he wouldn't have shot her, if he wouldn't have drawn the line, how many other people would have just jumped through the window? You know what I mean? So I mean, you got to draw the line somewhere. The foolishness got to stop somewhere, man. Come on, we got to realize what we're saying.
Right. They let her in. Why can't I jump through the window? Or just unlock the door once you enough y'all get in, just unlock the door. Hey, we ain't gotta wait no more. Jump no window. So open the door for us. But feel free, chatter. I'm sorry, I was just jumping in. Or how do you feel now, Christopher?
I would unload it.
I mean, nah, he
Facts.
answered the question, so that's cool. Gave me a better understanding.
Christopher, now you understand why I said I would have made that hall smell like iron and copper.
Yeah, I get you now. That doesn't mean I agree with it, but I understand.
Christopher, what would you have done if you were the cop?
I mean, if that was a situation, I would have definitely called for backup, utilized maces. I would have just utilized a bunch of like whatever I had to do, like pepper spray, whatever I had to do to basically get these people to like back off and calm down. I would have made a bunch of arrests. I would have had
Arrest.
immediately like grabbed my gun and like just started shooting people in the head. That's not what I would have done. But yeah, I would have. I would. That's what I would have done.
But how would you have?
I also would have waited, Chris. I would have waited until she was more of a threat.
I,
And then I would have trusted the other big ass armed guards that were there that should have never moved in the first place. But that's a different conversation. So I
okay.
also
You
would have
talking
waited.
about the ones getting beat up and their head smashed in with a flagpole?
Right.
No, why are you lying?
They,
That was
they they
not
didn't beat
they
up
did
no
not get no
officer.
they didn't beat them
They didn't
up.
beat
They
up
were
no
right there.
Yo, my I'll just be caping.
Diana's right. Diana, you're talking.
Quentin,
Oh
unless
no.
you're ready to come to Chatter and watch this video with me,
Uh,
I
what
suggest you
video you
see this
watching that I
video.
can't pull up online and watch
So,
myself?
so
Please
you're
stop
saying
doing
that
that.
no officer was harmed at all?
That is
Exactly.
not what I'm
Just
saying. Y'all
I'm
like
asking you.
on
Okay,
Okay,
hold
code
on.
that's a
here.
question. That's a question.
So no, Chris,
No,
what
Chris.
Diana's talking about, there's a video where you can see from the side where the protesters are coming in, you can actually see officers on the side on steps, like beside the protesters. They were moved out of the way, and it's kind of like they were on standby, but they weren't in front of the door to stop the protesters. And they were armed. They had larger guns. There's about four or five of them, more dressed more like SWAT. Like they were just kind of coming up the steps, but they stayed to the side. Or they were standing there and they were moved to the side. I think the report says that they were moved to the side. So they were there, but then they just were on the side. They were definitely more armed than the guy at the door who shot Ashlee Babbit, but they were definitely present. And they were definitely a much more dangerous presence than Bird, who actually shot Ashlee Babbit.
So they were watching.
Technically, yeah. You would have to see the
Yeah, but
video.
that
I mean, yeah.
that right there should have been a sign that this is the line not to cross.
exactly.
That I mean, anybody with logical sense would let you know if these guys are on the side with us and there's guys on the other side with weapons. That should let you know that this is the line. We can't go past this line. I
But
don't
you just
understand why
use
people.
the word. You use the word logical, big man. And that's what goes towards my bringing in, the fact that the president was sitting there reinforcing that this was a stolen election, knowing there's a bunch of military vets there, knowing a lot of them have, some really strong feelings about the claims that were being made against those same representatives. And so to me, civilly speaking, I'm shocked they didn't go and maybe they did, I don't know, start suing the government for that, right? I'm sure that this had to have been part of the defense's claims at some point, maybe not with Ashley, but with other people, because to me, they weren't thinking logically at all.
And this is why
Diana, they
she got
literally were in
shot in
court
the
saying that
head.
Donald Trump sent them. They did this because of Donald Trump. While he was saying, I didn't tell them to go and do that.
Right.
There was literally a lot of their defenses. Donald Trump told us to do it.
Exactly.
Yeah, see, that's why I have
And they
more
went to
empathy
jail.
for the
And they
people.
went to jail. No, there's no empathy, Diana.
I've
You're
got some damn
grown. You're grown
empathy.
as fuck and stuff. Somebody
Exactly.
tell you go to a place where you're not supposed to be, break everything down to get inside, go through a door, threaten members of Congress, threaten the president, the vice president of the United States, and you're like, well, he told me to do it, so I'm gonna go ahead and do what he said to do. So I'm not at fault for what I did because the president told me to do it. That's just
No
asinine,
accountability.
Diane. And you know damn well you wouldn't listen to Donald Trump if he told you to
Exactly.
go do some crazy shit.
So he say
Is
jump off the
is
jump
there a
out, jump
Yeah,
off
but
that
recording?
people,
bridge.
yeah,
They
people need to
Is
jumping.
there a
think. They need to have
recording
their
of
mind
that?
their own.
I'm just
Well,
curious. Is there a recording of any of them having Trump say that? I mean, I was just wondering.
Yeah, go do your research, Ann. It's
I
out
was just
there.
about to say, right.
Oh, Rochelle, come on! I need you to tell me. I'm too lazy.
Well, I'm telling you, but you want to see the actual evidence, so you can go look it up. I'm too tired to pull it up for you. Sorry,
All righty, thank you.
but if I do pull it up, I'll let you know.
All right.
I just don't get. You know, it's so crazy because when and we see regular life when police pull over certain people and things happen and go down and people lose their lives, they always say, "Well, why didn't you just comply? Why didn't you just?" You just could just parked the car and gave it up. Just put the keys out, whatever the situation is. Just comply. Now you got 500 people out here with weapons and are breaking windows, breaking and entering, trespassing, threatening the vice president, and you have the weapons and the means to do it. And people are pretty much in here basically saying, oh well, why they didn't like we saying y'all should just comply and not been there in the first place, but they're trying to make an argument saying they're there for whatever excuse they want to bring up. It really doesn't even matter at this point, but My thing is, why didn't y'all just comply? Ashley Babbitt would have been here if she would have complied when they told her to stop 4 or 5 times. From what I heard from the video, they told them to stand down, but no, they didn't want to comply. So guess what? She gets three to the chest with a body mass. And that's what happens. And so any of the other reasoning or BS don't matter because why didn't y'all just comply? I'm gonna start using that shit against y'all. Why didn't y'all just comply? Like, come on, man. Yeah,
That's a
y'all
good
want to
one,
have
bro.
it. Y'all want to have it both ways.
I actually think a lot of people agree that she shouldn't have been there. I mean, I do. But I also am surprised that they didn't take more people out if they felt that threat. So that was always my question tonight. I'm not going to lie, I don't really know a lot about this case, but and I don't believe that. I, I'd be pissed if my daughter was there, but she did what she did and she paid the price. But I'm still surprised they didn't get more people if it was that threatening. Because I think I would have just been taking everybody out.
Well, she was the only one going through the door, and they kept telling her to stop, and she wouldn't. And that's when they blasted her, and then nobody else tried to go through the door after she got shot. I'm pretty sure if some of those guys, men who was standing behind her, egging her on and helping to push her through the hole in the door, that if they had tried it, they would have blasted them too. But once she
Well,
got blasted, nobody else tried to go through that hole in the
a
door.
nut.
Well,
All
the
the
I think
men,
so.
security
all the
people could
men
have shot her
who
ass
was
in the
behind
butt.
her, all the
Those
men.
those men with the big ass guns could have shot her in the
No, those
gluteus.
men with the big
Oh,
guns
The
should have shot
gluteus and the
No,
everybody.
they
glutes.
They
can't.
should they
Listen,
should
it's
they
not
should
what
have
they
shot
trained for.
everybody, not just her.
I
But
have the
again,
video
none
up.
none of them tried to go in after she got blasted.
All
Punk ass
right.
men.
Hmm.
So,
I
but they
agree with that
did.
part.
So
Shit.
after
Okay,
she
if
was
you guys don't
shot,
see the video, I'm gonna pass it right to you, Jay. If you guys don't see the video loaded, you'd have to go down to come back up. And this is the video that we saw with all of those police officers. I think they're police officers, some type of armed guard right behind her. So I'm gonna, Jay, you want to go, and then I'll play it right after you. It's about 50
yeah,
Well,
seconds.
yeah. So because it's actually towards the video. So after she was shot, you'll actually see that the police officers, at least two of them, before the video ends, actually started to step in, point their guns and tell people to back up. But that was after she was shot.
All right,
Several
guys,
feet
they're about to
in.
play the video. I'm
The
gonna do a
last
hard
thing they would
reset,
do
five
as a police
seconds, and
officer
you're back in
is
the
shoot
room.
someone in the
Hey, if
back.
you're listening to the
And
podcast at
I
home,
believe
there's
that's why
another episode
they
coming
made
out
the
later on
decision
today,
to
the
shoot
bonus
her
episode.
because
So,
shooting
guys, we're gonna do a
someone
quick
in
hard
the back
reset and
is
back in the
like a
room.
huge no-no.
You guys are
Talk
here.
about somebody who would have been actually
I'm here.
protected in the
Yep.
back
Hard reset.
rather than the cop that shot her in the back.